Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Hope you're enjoying your week. Hope everything's been going good. This is For the North. I am PJ. I'm here in Wisconsin.
Chris over in Minnesota.
And we want to thank you for tuning in. We have episode 10 here. We got some fun and exciting action to recap from week number 11. We're going to talk about the Packers and the Giants. That ended up being more of a nail biter than I thought it was going to be. We're going to talk about the snooze fest between the Eagles and the Lions, and we're going to finally go into recapping the Bears and the Vikings matchup that happened on Sunday afternoon. So let's dive in. Let's do this thing. So,
for the Packers and the Giants, I would say the Packers' performance was largely uninspiring, if I'm a Packers fan. I expect Jordan Love to hit open receivers. I expect the open receivers to catch the football. That's basic, right? And I expect the defense to play better in terms of, catching balls that are right on the money.
Yeah.
Even if they're not to the right team. Because, you can't drop that many balls on either side of the football and win the game. It's just not possible.
I think the result that I would kind of come up with is that it's kind of they're a little bit there was a little bit of a degree of luck that went into that game for the Packers on Sunday to pull it out and get a victory. Indeed, when they needed it, Jordan Love led a drive and he threw the touchdown pass to Christian Watson, and that ended up being the game-winning score. But I was counting up the drops on either side of the ball. There were 13 dropped passes, between the defensive backs and the safeties, the wide receivers, the tight ends. Just a really high, unusually high amount of drops for well thrown balls from Jordan Love. And we've talked about this before, or we talked about this before we hopped on the podcast. If the ball hits your hands, you got to catch it. You're an NFL wide receiver. That's your job. You get paid to do it. You got to catch it. This is why I say there's a little bit of a degree of luck. I think if that's a different opponent, that game goes differently for the Packers. I don't think you can play that way against a higher quality opponent and expect to win with the points, the opportunities that the Packers left out on the field on Sunday. They also got bit by the injury bug, losing Jordan Love went down in drive number 2. He got a stinger in his shoulder. Josh Jacobs banged his knee on the turf and wasn't able to, it swelled up and he wasn't able to bend it, so he went out of the game. So they were kind of running a little bit of a hospital squad near the end of that game. So
Didn't Nate Hobbs also get injured?
Yeah, so they put him. They put Hobbs on IR after the Panthers game, or
Okay,
after.
that's what I thought. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
Um,
So yeah, because Nate Hobbs has just been an absolute bust in terms of a free agent signing. He's when he was on the field, he wasn't very good in coverage. He had been battling an injury all of training camp and all of the off season. So it was kind of a head scratching signing from a free agency standpoint, and it just never really panned out. So I'm happier with the decision that. Defensive coordinator Jeff Halfley decided to go with in terms of going with Carrington Valentine instead of Nate Hobbs. So
yeah, we're going to see. We're going to see what happens with the Packers. They're kind of a mess right now in terms of personnel. Just with a lot of injuries, where we'll see how much some of the individuals play next week.
yeah,
It's just I would mention names, but there's too many to count.
I mean we're down multiple linemen at this point. We have linebackers that are injured. We've got corners that are injured. We've had defensive linemen and defensive tackles that have been injured at some point throughout the season. Lost Tucker Kraft to an ACL. Josh Jacobs is now ailing. We're the injury report week to week is now starting to look like a CVS receipt, just full of names. There was they were saying like 23% of the roster was on the injury report for the Packers. So that's not very good when you're going into late November, December football. So we'll see. Yay.
Yeah.
That's my feeling. That's my 2 cents about it. Like I said, a lot of opportunities that probably got left out there on Sunday. Um, you don't get style points in the NFL. A win is a win, right? You can win ugly, and it still counts as a win. But I need to see more out of the Packers if we're gonna, be considered a playoff team, a playoff contender. So there's some work to do in late November going into December for this team.
Yeah, we're not going to make any too early predictions right now.
We won't. We will not.
But yeah, it was kind of a rock fight for a while.
Mm-hmm.
It was low scoring. Neither side of the football looked good for either team except Jameis Winston, who came out for a little while and was like, "I'm Jameis Winston. I'm gonna have a great couple drives." And you know what? I will say Malik Willis, solid backup for the Packers.
I like that. That is one of the shining bright spots of the roster. I'm really happy that knowing that Malik Willis is there. I don't understand why all of a sudden the offense looked competent and looked like they could move the ball when Malik Willis was in and not Jordan Love, but that's another issue to talk about. Another
Only
episode.
For 2 drives, and he threw for about 3 yards per. He averaged about 3 yards per pass.
Yeah.
Or 2 passes averaged about 3 yards per pass.
Hey, but they were both completions, and one of them was a touchdown. So
yeah,
that's pretty good stats. Pretty good stats.
Let's move on to the Lions and Eagles. Eagles beat the Lions. I don't think that was a surprise to anybody, and that was in Philly, I believe. Just kind of a snooze fest for a while. Neither team could move the ball, and it wasn't even due to I'm not saying the defensive play wasn't good, but it wasn't outstanding either. correct me if I'm wrong, but there was nothing impressive about either side, really.
No,
The whole
no.
game.
I, the whole game, really, from the get go, you're talking about two opponents that you should expect to have some sort of fireworks. This is a premier primetime matchup that all the eyeballs in the NFL are watching. Um, and it didn't live up to what it was billed as. This was a team a year ago in the Lions that was scoring 30 plus points a game, and the Eagles were ripping off explosive runs, and Saquon Barkley was on his way at this point to a 2,000-yard season last year, and we're not touching that right now. I should look up his stats, but we're not touching those sort of stats right now. It's been really lackluster in terms of the offensive performance that we've seen out of the Eagles this year. Um, I did not expect a defensive football game, and I did not expect that sloppy of execution from Detroit. Generally, even with Dan Campbell being the riverboat gambler that he is, the offensive execution for Detroit has always been crisp, has always been good. They run their offense through Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. And when those two backs are going, that offense does amazing things. And it just, every aspect of offense and defense looked really flat for both teams. So I don't really have a lot to say about it. I'm getting sick of watching the Eagles run the tush push on primetime TV. I
your weekly rant about the tush bus, yeah.
I will get it banned, dang it. No,
Well, you know what? You can hope that they use it against the Bears here in a couple weeks, just so that you can feel justice. Like, oh, it happened to us; it should happen to them too.
yeah, that's my secret hope. I feel like we've shifted a little bit too. Like something that I'm noticing is that like the Eagles a little bit this year are becoming the new like Chiefs, right? Like like last year how the Chiefs like won a bunch of games where they just kind of like really had no business being in, and they kind of just like scraped out a bunch of victories. This is what the Eagles feel like this year. Like they're just kind of they're winning, but they're not winning impressively, right? Like does that make sense what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
it just it feels like eventually this has to catch up to the Eagles. This model that they have where they're just doing enough to win. Um, and this is not an NFC East podcast. We're not here to talk about the Eagles and gripe about them. This is an NFC North podcast. So, like, what's truly shocking to me is that there was really just no offensive ingenuity on Detroit's side of the ball the entire night. So, there's not much more to say about it other than that.
right. Well, with that, let's look at the Vikings and Bears game. So, for those complaining about J.J. McCarthy played well enough to win. And people might be like, oh, but he didn't complete a lot of passes and had turnover. I'm like, yeah, I get that. It's a first-year quarterback. Get over it. Big whoop. He played well enough to drive down the field, score, granted, albeit with a little bit too much time on the clock. However, he still scored. Vikings should have stopped that kick defense. Special teams should have stopped the return well before the returner got to the 50-yard line. And I will say the Vikings defense played very well. I don't know how Caleb Williams stayed on his feet. It seemed like he just, lathered himself in butter before and he couldn't be brought down.
Yeah, no, he was
And
slippery.
like I'm happy for Caleb Williams, but I'm just frustrated that it happened against the Vikings.
It's a bit of like it's pretty much the exact opposite of what happened in week one. Like week one, the Vikings went on the road and there were 3 quarters of just what are we doing? Oh my God, JJ, the whole fan base is going, JJ is terrible. He can't win the game. And then he comes out in the fourth quarter, plays brilliantly, leads the Vikings to a win, and everybody is praising, singing his praises. And this game was the opposite where, the Bears and Caleb Williams get the opportunity and their kicker was really the savior of the day in the end. But I think the thing that I take away from it is that you are right that J.J. McCarthy played well enough to win that game. They could have won that game. Um, if your special teams keeps that kick return to, a manageable distance, right? You don't let them get to the 50-yard line and just have to get a first down to set up for a field goal. It probably goes differently, and we're talking about this game a lot differently and JJ McCarthy a lot differently if that drive that he led, that final drive, ends up being the game-winning drive. Um, I don't put it all on JJ. There's some stuff that I look at in the highlights where I say, okay, like, calm down, let's take a breath. If you're JJ McCarthy, let's make the reads. Let's take an easy throw. We don't have to, you know, play hero ball. We're not trying to score 21 points in one shot. Um, but, I think we've talked about this before. It's going to take time with a young quarterback for this to develop. So I think it's kind of unnecessarily unfair to JJ McCarthy, the for the fan base, the Vikings fan base, to, or even the NFL insiders, all the reporters, unnecessarily criticizing JJ McCarthy, who is again, he played his fifth game, so we are getting what we are going to get out of a first year starting quarterback playing in his fifth game. Like I don't know what more you can expect from him. As I said, if that drive ends up being a game-winning drive, we're not talking about JJ McCarthy in this way where he's a bust and we need to go get a new quarterback. So
Yeah, it's what I would say is that JJ McCarthy was playing well enough to win. Not only due to that final drive, but also due to the number of receivers where he hit the hands of the receivers, floated a couple balls in there, and they should have caught him on key situations. T.J. Hawkinson dropped a key third down pass. You saw Addison drop a deep ball. Jefferson dropped a couple passes as well. If you're going to be considered an elite receiving core, you can't drop those easy passes or those easy catches. It's just not something you should be doing. And people will be like, oh, well, JJ missed here and there. I'm like, yeah, but again, he has an excuse. He is a first-year quarterback. We've seen a lot of other quarterbacks do the same thing. I'm not going to compare him to Christian Ponder or anything like that, like some others are doing, because JJ has more of an arm than that. I don't know. A lot of people are making assumptions that oh well, he came in as a national champion, he's going to do great right away. You look at plenty of quarterbacks like Allen, like Manning, like I don't know, a million other different
um,
quarterbacks who came in the lead and struggled their first couple of years.
Yeah, yeah.
But then they developed and were able to do well enough after they started to relax a little bit. I think the Vikings fans should embrace this a little bit, that we're having a quarterback who's coming in and is willing to be developed. And you know what? If it doesn't work out next year, it doesn't work out next year. But, like, I don't know what you expect, like, with someone who we need to develop to, like, I don't know if you expect them to come in and win a Super Bowl, though that would be awesome. I don't know if you expect them to make a deep run in the playoffs, would also be an option to be excited about. But, like, while these things could still happen, it's still also, like, you just got to kind of take it game by game with these young quarterbacks. And I thought, like I said, I thought he played well enough to win. Do I wish he would have played a little bit better? Yeah, sure. But I'm not going to place all my, worries about the Vikings on him, because there were a lot of other things at play as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think again, we've talked about this. You sent me a clip. Dan Orlovsky talked about this. That like there are some, a young quarterback in JJ McCarthy has some mechanics issues, but they're fixable things, right? And right now I see that if JJ McCarthy can figure out how to kind of let the game come to him, right, and just kind of play loose, play free, limit the turnovers, right? Like if you can get rid of the interception problem, I think that JJ McCarthy can be very successful. Um, I think part of the problem is that, with the fan base's perspective, at least, is that JJ McCarthy was drafted so high. He was drafted so high. And the capital that Minnesota gave up to go and get him communicates that, okay, there are high expectations with this quarterback coming in. But again, this is a situation where you have to trust the process and you have to let JJ McCarthy develop and figure out these things and fix the mechanics issues and learn how to protect the football and not throw these interceptions and make the easy throws and do it. Like, again, he's doing enough to win these games, so it's not all on him. And I just find it wild that there is a section of the Vikings fan base that is ready to jump ship after 5 games. That's wild to me. And I know that there were sections of the Green Bay fan base that did the same thing after Jordan Love came in and played his first half of his first year as a starter. So again, it's a learning process, it's a growing process, and I think these things are fixable for JJ, and there's a lot of upward potential for him. And what better situation to be in than to have Kevin O'Connell as your head coach and play caller, your offensive coordinator, to have Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson. You have 2 great running backs in Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason. So I think he has a phenomenal situation. He's set up for success is what I'm getting at. So,
Yeah, well, and like Caleb Williams played a decent enough game, like where like he wasn't also. I mean, like it was the same thing, like I said last year, like that Caleb Williams needed time to develop and look like he was. Like I said, it was like he was lathered and butter, was able to escape some pretty decent defensive play by the Vikings.
Yeah.
And I was really impressed with how the Vikings got pressure to the quarterback. I think if the same thing happens in Green Bay this next week, there might be an issue for Green Bay, or more of an issue. But we'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like you saw a lot of things where it was like you're going against the Bears secondary, who's one of the best in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when those opportunities are given to you, you catch the football. Um, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Um, great job by the Bears limiting the Vikings defense or offense, um, and also great job by the Bears offense by driving downfield and getting a couple scores to have the pendulum swing in their favor. But the main reason the Vikings lost that game, special teams at the end.
That was that. Yeah, that was a gut punch at the end. Really, like I did not see the ending of the game. I really was kind of tuning in and watching highlights, and I saw the special team. I saw the return. I saw the resulting game-winning field goal, and I just know that feeling. It's just an absolute gut punch to go down and score what you think is the game-winning touchdown, and then realize that there was too much time and your defense didn't get it done. In this case, the Viking special teams just didn't get it done, and you got to be better on special teams. That's where you field position wins ball games, right? And special teams is a unit of protecting field position, and they didn't. So
right.
you know,
Well, and I think if Jonathan Grenard was in that game, the game might have been different. But any given Sunday for uh, both teams. Congratulations to the Bears.
that hurts me
Robert
inside.
Robert Harper, don't celebrate too hard.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's done by now, but he won't be done gloating.
Yeah, right.
If I know anything about him, he's a great guy.
Yeah, he's got some stuff to say.
But he definitely had something to say when his Bears are winning, like we would, if either of our teams were winning, as convincingly as the Bears have in the last couple weeks. But we'll see. We'll talk about more of the Bears play and what we think of the playoff situation when we get closer. Let's dive into predictions a little bit earlier than normal because we don't have a lot to report on any of the games other than points we've already, gone over a million times. All right, let's start with the Bears and the Steelers. I like the Steelers on this one just because I think Aaron Rodgers has the Bears number. And has always had the Bears number called. I'm going to go Steelers by 7.
Okay.
Just because, it's just because Aaron Rodgers knows the Bears quite well. Yeah. And is very good at beating the Bears as you have experienced, PJ.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I've been following. This is the game that I've been This is the game, and this is the injury report that I've been following all week. Outside of the Packers has been the Steelers injury report because Aaron Rodgers had to exit the game in the second half with he fractured his left wrist. There's a small fracture in his left wrist, and so as of right now, per today's report, Mike Tomlin said that Aaron Rodgers is questionable, but there is no doubt in my mind that Aaron Rodgers, who studied under Brett Favre, and came from the mentality of if you give up your starting job, you might never see the field again. That's what happened with, Brett Favre took Don Majkowski's job and never gave it up, and Aaron Rodgers took over for Favre, and both of those quarterbacks were Ironman, kind of playing through injuries and doing everything that they can to be out on the field on Sunday. So I think Aaron Rodgers is going to do everything he possibly can to be out there, regardless of a fractured left wrist or not. I agree with you. Aaron Rodgers knows a thing or two about beating the Bears, and I think he really wants to stick it to the Bears one last time before he rides off into the sunset. I'm going to go Bears. Sorry, not Bears. Steelers by 7. I think Rodgers gets one more. He gets to stick it to the Bears one more time in Soldier Field. So
Yeah. All right. Let's see the Giants and the Lions. I feel like the Lions have been struggling as of late, even against teams they should be beating. For this one, I'm going to go I'm still going to go the Lions, but I'm going to go the Lions by 3, just because I don't know. I feel like Jameis Winston just has like a Jameis Winston characteristic about him, being a locker room guy, being so positive,
mhm.
brings that energy to the field. Whereas like he's going to keep the game a lot closer than what people anticipate, and it might not be by 3, it might be by 7. But I do think it's going to be a close call, and it's going to be a nail biter, just like last week's game was. Just because I see Jameis Winston as a competitor.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to He's going to go toe for toe with you, or punch for punch, right up until the end of the game.
All right. Okay. Um, I'm gonna be a little bit crazy here, and I'm gonna predict that New York's gonna pull an upset. I think I'm gonna go New York by 3 in this game, and I think all that you said about Jameis Winston being a great character guy, great locker room presence, good veteran leadership for the New York Giants. They had the Packers on the ropes for that whole game last week. We all know how talented the Packers can be. I think the Giants are going to figure out how to deliver a good knockout punch to a what is a really good team in the Detroit Lions. They're going to win by 3 and pull an upset this week. So I'm going with just a little upset magic, and maybe I'm wrong about that, but I have a feeling about Jameis Winston this week. I think Giants pull the upset this week.
Okay. As they almost did with the Packers.
That they could, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just going. I'm going on field that they almost pulled the upset over the Packers. So I think they can pull the upset on the Lions this week. No.
With that, we'll move to Vikings Packers. Okay, so this is what I like about the Vikings defensive line. I think Jonathan Grenard comes back. And I do think that if he is back, he causes a pretty big headache for Jordan Love, which is why I see the Vikings winning this by 3. I predict it to be a pretty low scoring game, no more than 3 touchdowns on either side, but realistically 2 touchdowns and a field goal. It's going to be close. Wire to wire, I'm going to go with, and because I am a little biased,
Yeah. No,
I'm going
that
to
makes
go
sense.
with the Vikings by 3. But also, again, because Jonathan Grenard is back, I think it might cause a couple issues for Jordan Love,
Mm-hmm.
who likes to try to throw downfield, but I just don't know that he has the weapons to do so right now with all the Packers injuries, which is another reason why I would say the Vikings by 3. The Packers are seem like they're made of glass right now, and they could go down at any moment.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so this is a kind of a really big stretch, a really big season-defining stretch of the schedule for the Packers. They've got the Vikings, the Lions, then the Bears back to back to back. So this is really going to be kind of a big meaty part of the schedule that's going to determine how things go in the division, how things go down the road if they have playoff aspirations. Um, so I think this kind of has to be like if the Packers are going to go somewhere and they're going to do something this year and be a contender, this is the stretch. This is the game where it needs to start and you need to win. Um, that being said, I do have concerns about the offensive line right now for the Packers. They've been banged up all year, and it's been a patchwork offensive line. The defense currently is a bit ailed at the linebacker position, at the defensive line position. Um, Wide receiver has kind of been a question mark all year. Um,
One of
I
the top cornerbacks is out too.
yeah, yeah, top quarterbacks. This, because I'm biased and because I am the way that I am, we're going to split this decision, right? I'm going to go Packers by 3. I think this is going to be a rock fight, and I think this is going to have to be, if the Packers are going to win this, this is going to have to be a all 3 phases, complete game from start to finish if you're going to win it. The Vikings have a fantastic defense. It's going to be really hard to stop Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison and TJ Hawkinson.
If they catch the ball.
Yeah, if they
If they
catch
catch the ball.
it. Right, they need to catch the ball, but those are 3 mega talented players, and to top it off, they have 2 really talented running backs as well. So, this is a game where if JJ McCarthy and that Vikings offense come in and they can limit the turnovers, they can do some damage. And I see this, kind of, I like your score prediction where it's kind of like 21-24, 24-27, that sort of score.
Even like at 17-14, like
Yeah.
it might happen.
Yeah, it could be that sort of in the trenches sort of game, which I would love. It might frustrate me to no end to watch it and make my, blood pressure spike through the roof. But this is fandom, right? But I know I'm going to go Packers by 3, just because I believe that this is kind of the defining. If you're gonna go places this season, this is where it needs to start. You need to beat your divisional opponents. We went 1-5 against our divisional opponents last year. The Packers did, and we need to be better. We already have a win against the Lions. I think a win against the Vikings would go a long way. But I think also I will note this game could flip either way, where it could be a 3-point victory for the Vikings, or it could be a 3-point victory for the Packers based off of which version of those teams shows up to Lambeau Field on Sunday. So,
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have anything other than that. This might be one of our shortest episodes yet.
yeah, this will indeed be literally our shortest. We are currently at a 40-minute timestamp on our.
We just don't have a lot to say.
We do not.
There's been, and you know what? We will be adding. This is the preseason once again. We'll be adding more as our seasons go on.
Yeah. What I will note is, if you fans want to engage with us, you could go to the comment section down below, and you could do us a big favor, like and subscribe, and share this content with all of your friends and your family. All of the, anybody just walking by on the street, tell them about For the North and share the good news. But what I'm saying is you could engage with us and give us suggestions for what you would like to see as we get later into this season, as we kind of do this pilot for this first season of the podcast. So engage with us. Tell us what you would like to see. I do want to make just a quick programming note for everybody. With Thanksgiving coming up, we are going to do 2 episodes in pretty short order. Right now, like this, we're recording this on a Friday, so this is probably going to come out tomorrow, which would be Saturday. I don't know when you're listening to it, but either way, it's going to come out on Saturday, and then we will record an episode on Sunday after the football games and release that on Monday of Thanksgiving week. So expect 2 episodes in really short order here for numbers 10 and 11, by the way.
Yeah.
So just that's my programming note for all of you. But with that, I think we sign off and let the people get on with whatever they have left for their day.
Oh, yeah. Well, this has been a bit of everything. I'm Chris, and over there we have
PJ. In Wisconsin, by the way, this is for the North, not a bit of everything.
Is that what I said? Did I say?
You did say that.
That's one of our podcasts that is no longer available.
No longer available. If you find it, congrats to you. If you find it. Hey, but thanks for tuning in, everyone. Peace out.